All right, in this video, I'm going to help you understand the four basic types of businesses. And as we discuss these different types, I hope that you'll see that there are lots of different ways to be an entrepreneur and that almost anyone can find a type of business that fits their particular needs. So let's look at these four types. First, we have the job, a business where you do the work and you call the shots. Next, we have the hobby, a business that won't always make a lot of money, but will at least pay for itself plus a little extra. Third, we have the cash cow, a business that takes a lot of work in the beginning, but pays dividends for a long time. And finally, we have the empire, a business that supports a growing organization. Now, let's look at each of these in turn. First, let's look at the job. We call this type of business the job because that's pretty much exactly what it is. If you're working a job, but instead of working as an employee, you're working as an independent contractor. You'll also likely work for multiple clients in a short period of time, and your income is driven by these contracts. The good news about this type of business is that you are largely in control of your income. You set the rates, and as long as you can find customers willing to pay those rates, you're essentially setting your own income. Another benefit is that you are largely in control of when and where you get this work done, which can be pretty nice. One disadvantage, though, is that paid time off is essentially non-existent. If you aren't doing work for clients, you aren't getting paid. Another disadvantage is that contracts may not always be consistent, so there could be some uncertainty with your income. Finally, as a contractor, you are responsible for your own health and retirement benefits. And so because of these disadvantages, you will probably have to charge a little bit more than what you would make doing similar work as an employee. However, if you can charge enough to make up for the disadvantages, it can be a pretty rewarding way to work in your profession. Next, let's look at the hobby. A hobby business isn't usually a high income generator. Instead, it is something that you enjoy doing on the side that just happens to make a little bit of money. For example, maybe you enjoy cooking, so you occasionally cater events. Or maybe you enjoy painting, and you occasionally sell your wares at a farmer's market. The nice thing about this kind of business is that it can fund your hobby, plus a little more. And because it is something you're doing on the side, you don't have the same pressure to make money. You can do your work solely for the joy of doing it. The downside, though, is that a hobby business cannot usually provide a full-time income, and it often provides a low rate of pay compared to the work you put in. However, again, it can be a fun way to make a little bit of extra money on the side. Third, we have the cash cow. In this type of business, you acquire assets that provide passive income over time. One common example of this is real estate. Over time, you can acquire rental houses or apartment buildings that pay you a monthly income. Another example is intellectual property like books, patents, or songs. Once you create the asset, you get a royalty every time somebody buys it. The nice thing about this kind of business is that once the assets are acquired, income is relatively passive. You may still have to do a little bit of work to make sure your asset is still valuable, but you don't necessarily have to keep working in order to keep earning, which can be pretty nice. Instead, you can devote your efforts into acquiring additional assets, which will increase your income. The downside is that it often requires a lot of work before you see it pay off. Real estate, for example, is expensive, and most people have to spend a lot of time building or repairing real estate before it is ready to rent out. Either that or they have to save up a lot of money to acquire it. With intellectual property, you have to spend the time writing the book, doing the research and experimenting on the patent before it's valuable. And even then, you run the risk of nobody buying it. However, once you have a good cash cow, the benefits are tremendous. Lastly, we have the empire. Now, this is the kind of business that most people think about when they think about entrepreneurship. So in this type of business, you build an organization that will serve your customers. And in this type of business, you typically hire others to do the day-to-day work while you focus on managing and organizing. The advantage of this type of business is that in building an organization, you'll have built something that will outlast you. You also have the scale that allows you to provide opportunities for others while also increasing your own earning potential. Now, the downside is that some people would rather be doing the day-to-day work than to be managing others. Not everybody's cut out to be a manager or a leader, and that's okay. This business also has the added stress of not only needing to provide enough income for yourself, but also needing to provide enough income for everybody that's working for you. So again, this type of business isn't for everyone, and that's okay. But those who do pursue this type of business can really create something long-lasting and significant. So, what kind of business are you most interested in? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please check out some of my other videos explaining important business concepts.